Hello, everyone. This is Chris G. And I basically wanted to talk about something that I had seen online not too long ago that basically had piqued my interest. And it's about a man that goes by the name of Jaleel White. Some of you may not know him by that name, but you probably know him by his character named Steve Urkel. And he played on a television show called Family Matters that was on air for quite a bit of years, coming on from the late 1980s up until I believe the late 90s. So it had been on quite some time as one of the longest running television programs in United States history. And he not too long ago ended up getting married to a lady named Nicoletta, I think that's her name, Nicoletta Ruhel or Rule, something like that, Ruhl. And Nicoletta is a lady that is a tech executive, and she's also a niece of an NFL owner. And they were married back in May 4th of 2024 this year. And as I said, he played on the show Family Matters, and he also has done voiceover work for quite some years. He also did voiceover for a cartoon I really liked, growing up. It was called Sonic the Hedgehog. He did the voiceover work for Sonic the Hedgehog, the main character. He also has done producer work. He's also a writer, and he's done a lot of things for himself. Now, the controversy that is playing into his name and the marriage, excuse me, is that he basically is a African American man that ended up marrying a non-African American woman, and there's a lot of melanated women that are very upset by the fact that he chose the non-African American woman to marry. And I just had to sit back and think about it because you have a lot of melanated women nowadays, since we're living in a culture where it's really big on interracial relationships and what have you. You have a lot of melanated women, African American women, that are marrying non-black men. So with a lot of this stuff going on, it really strikes me that there's quite a few melanated women, not all of them, but just a certain number of them that are very upset by this marriage. And basically what I have to say is, for the marriage situation, I just got to say that I'm okay with it. I'm okay with Jaleel marrying the lady that he married. If they're getting along and he feels that this marriage is a decent thing, then so be it. Now, he was in a relationship with an African American woman before. I didn't get her name. I probably should have, researched the name, but he was with an African American woman lady before, and he had a daughter with her. I'm just going to leave his daughter's name out of this video. But he was with an African woman before. I don't know what happened with the relationship, but they're just not with each other anymore. So it's not like he's never been with an African American woman before. But for me, in regards to his marriage, I'm okay with it. And I just wish a lot of ladies would just get off of his back about it. And there was a quote that, excuse me, that Jaleel did make some time back. I think it might have been last year, or maybe a little bit further back than that. But he did make a quote, basically, that was in regards to, a young lady. She's older now. She's part of the Salt and Pepper group. The lady who was Pepper of the famous Salt and Pepper group. She said that back in the day that Will Smith had ended up trying to basically, try to speak to her, try to see if he could go out with her. They could, he could try to get to know her better, stuff like that. And Peppa did not give him a chance. The reason why is because she really, now I believe this is back in, I think like the 80s or 90s when he tried to approach her. And she said that, she thought he was just too nice, maybe even along the lines of being corny, but mainly leaning toward the nice thing. And so she basically just didn't give him a chance. But then years later, when Will Smith, he just grew up into fame and fortune and stuff, Peppa later on, she ended up admitting that like, wow, she really missed out on an opportunity where she could have been with him and, the sky could have been the limit for both of them, but she made the decision that she made. And then Jaleel, he made a statement where I think he spoke to BET or some type of entity that types up, interviews and reports, basically saying stuff along the lines, I'm going to kind of paraphrase it, where, he was saying that, a lot of guys like Jaleel back in the day really weren't being, really sought after for back in the day, which we're assuming like the 80s and 90s. During that time period, a lot of, ladies, especially among the melanated community, they were really, checking for, the, like the rappers, professional athletes, stuff like that. The real hard, street type of dudes, men of that type of range, those types of men. And he just said also too, he was like, man, I got stories. So I'm quite sure there was a bunch of times when he was rejected, quite possibly because he was, just too nice, the real nice guy. And I know he played a nerd character on the show Family Matters, but he may have had a nerd edge to him possibly back then when he was younger. Because I think now Jaleel is close to, excuse me, I think he's close to close to his 50s or something like that, so, around back then, when he was younger, it just coming up, I'm quite sure he just, he had stories about where a lot of ladies weren't checking for him, so he made that comment, and a lot of melanated women were very, very, very upset about that. But in the defense of Jaleel, I do want to say that back in the day when I was coming up, excuse me, because I was, growing up, in the 90s, 2000s, stuff like that, I do remember that there was a lot of, African-American, guys back then that weren't really being sought out for because they were seen as being too nice or, being too nerdy. They weren't into too much, nerdy things, like the study of bugs or they may have been, watching, anime, cartoons, television shows, stuff like that. Really big into sci-fi type of stuff back then. And, back in those days, those types of things weren't really seen as really being cool, awesome type of stuff in the eyes of many melanated women. Now, there may have been some exceptions here and there, but I mean just, it just in majority, generally, it really wasn't being looked at. I can remember back when I was younger, I was seen as being too nice and, just possibly being on a level of just being, corny, that type of thing. And, a lot of young ladies weren't, young ladies of the melanated, hue, they really weren't, checking for me like that. So I myself can, I can, acknowledge that it was like that back then, especially for a lot of younger, other African-American guys as well. So, I can agree with what Jaleel is saying. And, there was also something else I saw. It was a gentleman where it was a live stream he had. And, he was talking about Urkel. And there was some ladies that he was talking about where some ladies were saying, "Oh, nerds are winning right now in society. Nerds are just really winning. They're just getting these ladies left and right." And then the gentleman that ran that live stream, he was just like, "Look," he was like, "Look, let's just be honest. Gentlemen, if they look like the character Steve Urkel back in the day, you ladies back then really weren't checking for a guy like that back then. And to be honest, nowadays, you ladies really aren't checking for a guy like that now, unless if you think you can finesse him out of money, get him to pay for a bunch of things, but you're just not really turned on when you see that guy, like, the nerdy guy with the glasses, the pocket protector, you know what I'm saying? The guy that's always in the AV room, audio visual club, like back when the young ladies were back in high school, you weren't really checking for that type of stuff. You're not really looking for that now. Guys is really looking into like the study of insects and bugs, things like that. Or watching stuff on like C-SPAN, documentary type of stuff. It's like, you ladies really aren't into that type of stuff. And then there was finally some ladies in that chat that were saying, yeah, I wouldn't really be into that. But they would be into the character that was like the alter ego guy that Steve Urkel played. His name was Stefan Urkel. He was like the more suave, debonair, I think I said right, debonair, type of real smooth, suave guy that just made the ladies swoon. And the ladies in that chat room were like, yeah, we would have went out with him though. We went out with him. But like the nerdy dude, they just really weren't trying to check for this guy. And, so that's what happened in that chat room. And there was another gentleman, he goes by the name of, Flat Top Chicken. I know that sounds like a, kind of a very odd name, but he's a good gentleman. I saw some information from him, and he had put out a video talking about how, a lot of the nerd guys really aren't getting any love. And basically what he was saying is that you have ladies nowadays, we're just going to try to kind of just look into like the African-American community. No disrespect to anybody else, but we're just going to try to just hone in on something here. And he was saying that, a lot of the African-American ladies now, melanated ladies, they're saying that they're into gentlemen that are into anime, things of that nature, like, comic books, that type of stuff, wearing the anime t-shirts, stuff like that. And we know what Flat Top Chicken was saying was, he was like, look, the guys that you're talking about that you like that do that, they really don't fit the nerd category. They're really the guys that look smooth and debonair, how like Stefan Urkel looked, but they just so happen to like something that like the other type of nerds like, like let's say like some anime, for example, excuse me. And the guy Flat Top Chicken back in the day, he was like, look, man, like when he was coming up, because he's I believe he's a millennial. He was saying back when he was coming up, he's like, it was not popular for, young African-American guys. It was like, those guys liking that type of anime stuff. There wasn't a lot of, melanated ladies that were checking for these dudes back when he was in school. The young school ladies, they weren't into that, and he used to he said people would bother him and, just treat him real bad because he did like the nerd type of stuff, the anime stuff, the video games, the role playing games, that's with like the Final Fantasy type of games, and he was saying back in the day he caught a lot of problems with it, caught a lot of flack for that. But nowadays, having the ladies saying that they like these nerd dudes, but it's like really what you like is the guys that are really, really handsome looking. And I believe he used an example of like a gentleman like Michael B. Jordan. A lot of us know about him. Wonderful actor, great actor, love the brother. But it's like he was saying that you like gentlemen that look like that so happen to like a nerdy thing, that so happen to like to read comic books, or so happen to like, some video games type of stuff, role playing games, games that a lot of like nerds like to play. But the real 10 toes down nerds, the ones that are like real deep into the nerd stuff, that not only are real deep into the nerd stuff, but like they may even so happen to, excuse me, maybe even have the traditional type of look with the glasses, other type of wardrobe stuff that would, line up to what, nerds would wear. A lot of the melanated ladies today they're really not feeling it, but you like the other one where the guy looks very attractive, but just happens to like nerd stuff. So that was something that young man spoke on, and I agree with him. And I think that's really the case with a lot of ladies today. You don't really like the real nerd guys. You just like the real handsome dudes that something to like to do some type of nerd type of stuff, And I'm not angry at the ladies for that. It just is what it is. They have their picks, and hey, we just keep moving on with life. But that was something that he brought to life, and so I know that kind of went off to the side a little bit from the Jaleel White, but I did want to bring it up because I thought some kind of way that kind of did tie in together with talking about Jaleel. But I just really wish that a lot of the ladies out there that are basically salty about him marrying a non-melanated woman to just go ahead and just let the man live. He's not bothering nobody. He's just trying to live his life, just like many other Americans are trying to live their life. And just let him be. And like I said, once again, I'm happy for him. And he's found someone that he feels that he's in love with, that he thinks he can really have a good life with. So I wish the best for him. And basically that's all I have to say. This is Chris G, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Peace.